Coming to you straight from the Rio Grande and beyond. Broadcasting to the four corners of the globe. So grab your seat, your coffee, or your sundowner.
Okay, everybody, here we go.
On point, as always. This is Gloves Off. Gloves Off.
So when I was working on Selena, the series for Netflix, to play the role of Abraham Quintanilla, I put on a specific amount of weight, which I was fine doing, but also realizing it could be difficult to get that weight off. I got back into my physical regimen with James Leha, but I was still having trouble with just those last amounts. And that's when I got to meet Arturo from Laredo Medical Weight Loss Clinic. And just the products that he gave me kind of put me over the edge. I feel great about myself.
We're back at you in Gloves Off. I'm Professor Buitron. I'm talking with a dear friend of mine, Grandmaster Richard Hackworth, and we're touching base on the essential needs of safety in our community and martial arts schools in our community. How are we doing today, my brother? You doing good?
Yeah, I'm doing well. Thank you.
And how's everything in Florida?
Just waiting for the rain to start.
That's what we have here. They say it's going to rain later on today. Let's see what happens. So tell me a little bit. You've been into martial arts for a very long time. Let's touch base on that.
Yeah, I just, I started as a kid and then kept going. Kept finding myself in the martial arts no matter where I moved. Even after I joined the military, traveled overseas, did martial arts in Japan, Korea, in China, and just have been very blessed to get to meet some very influential teachers along my journey. So I feel that, the benefit of having trained with highly qualified, notable people is what made the difference in martial arts for me.
Okay. Let's touch base on, because you've been, not only did you train here and throughout the States, but overseas in 3 different countries. How was it different, martial arts schools in other countries as they are here, or is it the same?
I think a lot of times the techniques were the same. The difference seemed to be in the culture. People took it a little more seriously because it was part of their culture, and the level of intensity of the training was up quite a few notches. I would compare it as different as being a Boy Scout or being a special forces soldier. I mean, there was that big of a discrepancy or difference in the level of intensity because everybody in the class was there trying to be the best they could be. They weren't just there for a workout or for a hobby. They were very serious about it.
Absolutely. I've just like you, I've trained overseas. And I've been to many countries, and I've taught overseas as well, in many different countries. And the intensity of learning, the want to learn, like you say, it's a different notch than it is here in the States. What I saw over there was a sense of communal encouragement of a martial arts school or a center or what have you. It was supported by the local community, whether it was in local neighborhood, local city, stuff like that. And here you don't see that as well. You see it in some of the old boxing schools, throughout different cities. You see that type of communal bond. Why would you think that's different, or what's needed in that sense?
I think that we see it differently in other countries because they approach it from the standpoint of being a lifestyle. Whereas here, so many people approach it as a hobby or just another activity that they do, like tennis or golf. And I think that the people that approach it from that aspect as a hobby or just another activity are the ones that really do themselves a disservice because you can't get the full benefits of the training and the camaraderie and the fellowship, the sense of community by treating it like a weekly activity instead of a major part of your life. And the other thing that I saw there was that as a school, you were involved in the community. And once you joined the school, you weren't just a student there. You had 300 brothers and sisters all of a sudden that when they ran into you anywhere in town would greet you that way. There was such a strong bond among the members of the school. And I would love to be able to see that level of connection with the students here. And hopefully we'll get to that point someday. But right now it's very, very rare.
Well, you're absolutely correct because I saw that in two countries that were very, very involved. I saw it in Belgium and I saw it in France, especially with Buitron Savat, that they knew who you were in those clubs that you were there. They knew the presence around the area. The people would support you, whether you were a fighter, whether you were a trainer. There was a sense of, I wouldn't say respect, but a sense of communal embrace. Okay. And you see the same thing in Brazil, in the different martial arts schools in Brazil. And you see that in how they trained, how they train, how the community. When I'm talking about the community that's around the school, I would say that the mile radius around there, the businesses and so on and so forth. There's an embrace. Hey, here goes a person that's doing good. Here goes a person that's trying to achieve a little bit better. A lot of these schools are actually taught in rec centers. Okay, in France, a Savat school that is privately owned, like mine, is very, very rare. You probably have maybe two in the whole country right now. So the percentage of privately owned martial arts schools in France is a lot different. This kind of same thing happens in Brazil, but what occurs is that they're taught in recreation centers, they're taught in educational departments or schools. What happens is that the people that are there, the other participants that go there for swimming or for tennis or what have you, have that sense of, these are the good people. They're like that embrace, that positive push forward. Understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely. And I think that one of the things that I see is that I'll give you an example. When I was in Korea, we had some storms coming, like typhoons. And so as a martial arts school, we all got together and we were filling sandbags to block around the doors and the entrances to our school so it didn't get flooded. But when we finished, we continued to fill sandbags to help block the doors and protect the entrances of every business on the block. And I don't know that you would see anything like that here. And because I know here in Florida, if we get a hurricane coming, I'll send out a text, tell everybody stay safe, class is canceled tonight. And if I do get a message back, it's always going to be, well, we'll be back in a week if we have power, that kind of thing. But as far as like people trying to get together, fill sandbags, help the community, that's something that I just haven't seen out of the martial arts schools here. Now, one of the things that we do as a school that's encouraged by an organization that I belong to called the World Martial Arts Congress is that as a school, we have a list of people by name and phone number that we give to local police departments and sheriffs and churches that if somebody goes missing, they're trying to find a missing child, an abducted woman, or whatever, they can call us and we will show up to be that group of people that stands, double arm interval and walks through the woods or walks through fields in different places looking for those people. And that's the closest thing that I've seen here to that type of activity that goes on in Japan and Korea and China as far as the schools go. And I think that the people that participate in those things have such a strong sense of community and citizenship that shines through, because it just goes to show that, being a black belt is just as much a sense of mentality as it is a sense of rank. And that you apply yourself to that level of excellence in every aspect of your life, not just your fighting skills. So I would really like to see that kind of development go on, here in the schools in the United States.
Absolutely. Several years ago, probably it's been about 15 years ago, we ended up with a flash flood here in Laredo that basically flooded a whole area. We as a school got together. We went to the local grocery store down the street, got a U-Haul truck, and we filled that place with canned goods and waters and so on and so forth. And then all of a sudden, they saw us doing that. Some politicians came in there to wave a flag and say, we're helping also. And we helped out the flooding district when the city of Laredo did not. And we did that. We've always opened up in our arms towards giving free self-defense seminars and self-defense and awareness to the women for decades. And because I was taught by those professors in France, by others, that you're part of the community. You're here to enhance the community, be a beacon of light in the community. You all are held as the light in the storm for the boats to follow the lighthouse, right? And what I see is, people come over with problems, whatnot, and you have to direct them. And you talk to other martial artists, not only here, throughout. They're like, why do you do that? Well, that's what we're here for. We're here to serve. We're not just here just to teach people and take their money. We're here to serve the community that's around us, because that's a community that we basically teach their kids, and they're going to grow up. Maybe the kid's going to be with us for 6 months. Maybe he's going to be with us for 10 years. I got students that have been with me for 30 years now. And what happens is you see that type of embrace and that type of triggering happiness and smiles in the area that you live in. And that's something that I learned not from because of the state martial arts here in Texas, but because of what I learned overseas. You're part of the community. And I think that's where the martial arts schools have to go this route, if those that want to. And I think that's what makes a bond of a martial arts school inside a community. That's my belief.
Yeah, I think you're right. And the rigors of training help create a bond within the school, because, these are people that you've shed blood, sweat, and tears with, and there's no connection. The only other thing I can think of that builds that kind of bond is military service. Guys that I was in the military with, that I've been friends with since 1983, 84, 85. So it just goes to show that those bonds are for life. Like you talked about having students for 30 years. It's the same thing with me, and I got guys that I'm connected to now through the martial arts that I've known since I'll go back as far as 1977, and there's nothing like it. And
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, technology that had the capability of bringing us closer together as a world has made us more distant as people, because people are so quick to just shoot off a text. And they don't say hello, goodbye, no greetings, no nothing. It's just, hey, what's for dinner? Or, hey, what's this going on? Or, you know what I mean? And so I get people that make fun of me because when I send a message, like if I send you a text, a lot of times it'll be, hey, Paul, how's this going? Or hey, brother. And a lot of people aren't used to that. So I think that it carries over into the rest of our life. Absolutely. And I think you particularly being in like Savat, where you've competed, not only on the amateur level, the professional level, even people that you had competed against become your brothers in the art. And like I said, I don't know that you even have that in baseball or soccer, where people build cross connections from other teams the way we've done in the martial arts.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. And it's that bond that separates these sports from others. And that, and I look at different municipalities treat the martial arts as kind of a low class business. And that's not what it is. It's an enrichment business inside society. Granted, depending on the schools that each one comes from, right? Just like colleges, which colleges and universities better than others, and it just depends what it is. Are all the universities the same? Basically, they are. You're going to go there to learn. So all the martial arts schools the same. Basically, they are. You're going to go out there to learn the self-esteem, the self-confidence. That's going to be enriched in every single one. Now, are you going to produce world champions in this one from that one? It just depends on the person and where they're at. And it just depends on the instructors and so on and so forth, and what the instructors push into it, and that communal bond that you build. And I think that if you do not have that communal bond with where you're at, you've lost touch. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah. Now, you had mentioned earlier about like offering self-defense classes, and I think that is a great way that a lot of martial arts schools can contribute to their community, especially with the bullying epidemic that goes on in schools and that have created school shootings in the last 20 years or so. That some self-defense can breed a level of confidence that most kids don't have today, because they lack the social skills to interact with each other. Because as little kids, their interaction is sharing candy and Kool-Aid at daycare, and then when they get to school, they don't really get to interact. It's just sit down, be quiet, pay attention. And so activities like martial arts school, a good school, have people interact on a much deeper level. And when they start to learn that, hey, I now have some skills, and they understand that, a good jab, hook, and uppercut goes a long way toward deterring bullies. And once they understand that, hey, I now have these skills, not only do they feel better about themselves, you'll see them not just stand up for themselves, but to stand up for others that they see getting bullied. They'll tell the other kids, hey, leave him alone. Whereas they wouldn't have had the confidence to do that prior to learning those self-defense skills. So, yeah, I think that what you're doing is wonderful. And I wish that more martial arts schools would offer some community self-defense, even to local women groups, the Rotary Club, just anything like that. The PTA at the local elementary schools, offer everyone some training to kind of get the word out that this is what we do, this is how we do it, and you're a much better person for having tried it.
Absolutely. And sometimes, and my uncle used to have a saying that, it's in Spanish, but I'll translate it and in Spanish it goes, vives para servir, si no, no sirves para vivir, which basically translates, you live to serve, if not, you don't deserve to live, kind of sort of. And that's a type of mentality that I've taken there. You try to do better for those that don't have that ability. And sometimes we get shunned on because of that. Not I, but we as martial artists in general, because you're trying to help out, and people tell you, why are you doing that? Well, we're doing that because we care about our community that's here. That's the way it should be done.
Right, absolutely. And then also the self-defense classes are a great way for kids to learn to interact too. If you do like an anti-bullying workshop or something, that they can bring their friends from school and church, their neighbor kids. There's just so much that the community can learn and benefit from by attending these workshops. And like I said, I just wish more martial arts schools would do it. And then the other thing is that, I'm sure you've seen this 1,000 times, the confidence that goes into becoming a black belt, the person that you have to become to earn that black belt, is going to do better in whatever profession they choose, whatever college or university they go to, because confidence is the leading factor going into all forms of leadership and education. Because if you don't believe you can learn something, you're not going to learn it, no matter how good your teacher was, until they believe it. And, so that same thing carries over into the workplace, into school academics, for young kids that, making the principals list and the honor roll for the first time, it changes their life. And so if parents did it for no other reason than to help their child increase their focus and self-discipline to have better academics, then that's a well worth investment. Your child is worth that effort. So have you had some particularly memorable experiences of maybe a kid that was failing in school because of a lack of confidence or being bullied, that martial arts kind of turned their life around?
Plenty. I've had many students. Especially in some of the programs that we've had in the last years, we've had a lot of kids that came in there, and we had a 95% honor roll, a straight A's kind of program. And some of these kids came in there with C's, and all of a sudden now they were getting B's, and then eventually they got A's, because of that dedication. And parents, I don't think they realized that's why it was, because they didn't have no discipline before. They didn't have a type of goal attaining, understand, and system. And you see that with kids that really like and start enjoying it, they start pushing that forward. I have many of them. I've had kids that have come in with kind of a streetwise mentality, have become law enforcement. Some of them have become great peace officers throughout town. Some of them have gone into the service. One of them ended up going into the special forces. We have many of that type of that it's turned them around. Not all of them are going to be astronauts or doctors or neurosurgeons, what have you, but we've had a lot of them that are educators right now in the school systems, peace officers, firemen, and that they got a shot into what their profession was because of the school that it was, because of that discipline.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I'm glad you brought that up. And it just reminds me that there's so many things, for the people watching this show today, there's so much good content that you put out. And like me personally, I'm a big fan of your Is What It Is segments that you do. And so statistically, about 75% to 78% of the people that watch the videos aren't subscribers yet. So if you're enjoying this content, go ahead and subscribe, share it with a friend. And that way you can make sure that you come back and find the things that you're interested in learning more about. Because we provide all of this for free, or you do, and that's why I'm always excited about getting an opportunity to be on your show, because I know how good the content is that you share on a regular basis. And even with 75% of the people not being subscribers, you have over 10,000 subscribers for your channel. So, and like I said, it's free. So while they're here, if they go ahead and join, we invite them to do that. And I know that we've got from talking to you last night, there's some other really good shows coming up soon, and they're not going to want to miss those. So that's just my 2 cents on that part.
Well, thank you so much. And those words are humbling. But, we got plenty of videos. I think we got over 2,000 videos right now that have been coming on different formats, from documentaries to training sessions and a lot of workouts, a lot of workshops, a lot of interviews that we've done over the years, not only in Gloves Off, but also for the other programs that we've offered, to kind of a historical documentation. And we do this because we enjoy giving out quality material out to people to learn, kind of to give an eye of what's going on, give it a sense of where we're at. But I want to thank you for that. And folks, if you don't mind, share, comment, tell us where you're coming from, because that's part of how we keep moving forward. That's the enthusiasm that you all give us. And we're running out of time. And I want to tell you, brother, keep doing what you're doing over there in Florida. You've been a mentor to many. and you've taught us a lot. And that's why this conversation was greatly needed for many of the struggling martial artists out there that are going through some rough times, to kind of understand there's other avenues in here. Believe me, keep going. And for those
I definitely appreciate your words of encouragement and support. And you mentioned earlier about some documentaries, and from last night talking, I know that you're getting ready to start filming some other documentaries, and I'll save the rest of that information for another show. But I'm very excited about an opportunity to participate in that. And if people look on your channel, you have a few documentaries already here that you're sharing with people. So that's all I have to say for today. Thank you to everyone for joining us today, and I look forward to seeing you on future episodes.
always, folks, we'll leave you with this. You all stay safe, be safe, and God bless you all. Until next time, much peace.